Hello dear students, welcome to the platform of Teacher Educator. Today I have come with an interesting and innovative idea. I am sharing with you about how one of my student teachers emerged as a comic book writer. As you are familiar that in our 2 years B.Ed program, during the second semester, you are exposed to different types of teaching skills like introducing a lesson, illustration with examples, probing questions, explanation, stimulus variation, closure, and many more like this. So, during the session of stimulus variation skill practice, one of my English method students was presenting a short story on 5 fingers. While just passing by from a room to the other, I overheard telling a story with really an interesting voice modulation, gestures, postures, and a very impressive way of narration. She had actually painted her 5 fingers as a human characters and completed the story, receiving a humongous round of applause from her peers and the facilitator. That moment I wished if I were her facilitator for that presentation. However, at the end of the day, I called her to my chamber and asked her to reteach the entire episode. She did the job with similar vigor and interest. I was happy about my student teacher being creative at her allotted task. 2 months passed by, and I further called her to my chamber and presented the whole plan about how we can together recreate the same story. Now, I was slowly trying to incline her towards the significance of the task which I wished her to do. With some good discussion and slight motivation, she was ready for the activity which initially seemed to be impossible, and that is creating a comic book. We together worked on the entire layout, reframed the story with dialogues, discussed with the technical assistant to help us about design and layout as per our requirement. The journey began with creating a rough draft of the comic book, design of the backgrounds, characters, color combination, book jacket, and many more itsy bitsy tasks like that. Drafts was revised keeping various factors in consideration like target audience, linguistic corrections, etc. Further, we added some values and necessary dialogues in it. And finally, after 4 months of rigorous churning of the ideas and actions, we could bring out the comic book under the title Story of 5 Fingers. So, this is the book created by my student sister Margareta Diaz. Here is the comic book being read by a child.
The story of 5 fingers. Once, the 5 fingers of the hand began to argue. They were boasting of themselves, trying to decide who was the greatest among them. The thumb finger said, "Among the 5 of us, I am the greatest. Without my hold, you cannot do anything." Next, the index finger shouted angrily, "To point to a person or a thing, I am used. Hence, I am the greatest." Immediately, the middle finger arrogantly exclaimed, "All of you stand on both sides of me. I stand tall like a gold medalist on the victory podium above all. The 4 of you are lower than me. So, I am the greatest." Next, the ring finger proudly jumped by saying, "I am decorated with gold rings studded with diamonds. None of you are equal to me. I am the most respected one. So, I am the greatest among all." Then the little finger thought and with all humility spoke. "When the two hands are joined in prayer, I stand in front or in the center, and all of you stand behind me. Thus, all of us are needed to pray." One finger cannot do much all by itself. When in a group, They are used for working, playing, expressing, learning, communicating, building, eating, painting, and many other activities. The fingers together form a strong and powerful team. Together we stand, together we work. United we live as the fingers in one hand. Remember, unity is strength. Thank you.
So that was the entire comic book and the story of the same. Dear students, it gives me an immense pleasure that the student teacher understood the significance of creative work, which was extra than the regular syllabus. She completed the task religiously and finally she opened the doors of her journey of being a comic book writer from her B.Ed course. So, my beloved students, what is the takeaway? Takeaway is that Margareta believed in herself, worked for it, and most importantly, she had tremendous faith in me as a teacher educator. She worked on the suggested plan without any kind of innovations, and she could begin a marvelous journey as a creative teacher. Students, you all are the bundle of potentialities. Just identify, focus on the given guidance and available resources. You all can create wonders. One more point I would specify here is that many times you people avoid to take tasks which are other than your syllabus. If you are doing so, you are limiting yourself and you are closing the magnificent doors of opportunities. Remember, every diamond is a stone before getting converted into a gemstone. Understand that the expectations of your gem cutters are very high from you. Believe in them and shine to the best of your possibilities. Thank you and happy learning.